Good evening and welcome to the real world. My daughter mentioned to me this week that this year in school she's learning Haftarah, and I laughed to myself how ironic it is that the girls who don't really go to shul much are learning Haftarah, and the men still think, so many of them, and me among them, looked at the Haftarah as like extra recess. The Shiva de Nechemta, the 7 Haftarahs have come to started with the great words Nachamu, Nachamu Ami right after Tisha B'Av, and it carried us every single Shabbos for the last 7 weeks, up until this week is the last of the Shiva de Nechemta, which the Kedushas Levi tells us the last is the most intense part of the Nechama, Sayis Asus Pashem, and then it's Rosh Hashanah. And of course, the process, the fabric of the Jewish year, nothing is coincidental. So the Shiva and Nechemta are meant to lead us into Rosh Hashanah. Then there's a message that's appropriate for Rosh Hashanah. What is it? How does the Shiva and Nechemta, what do they mean, and how do they prepare us for this time of year? The word Nechama, comfort, Rashi says in Chumash, Vayinochem Hashem means Machshava Acheres Hayba. The Rebbe looked at things differently. Comfort doesn't mean changing reality. Comfort means looking at reality through new eyes, with a new approach, from a new vantage point, with adding a new angle, something that makes things a little different, then you're able to deal with it. If you ask any Yid who's standing at the top of the steps looking at the Kaisel, and then they see past the Kaisel, the big gold dome, what's going on over there? You say, that's the Har Bayis. But there's a dome. Yeah, but the dome is not reality. The dome is just there for now. If you ask a tourist, a random person walking by, they'll say, oh, that's the whatever the name of the mosque is, and that's the reality. They don't see it the way we see it. We have a machshava acheres. We see, yeah, that maybe your physical eyes perceive a gold dome over there, but it has nothing to do with reality. That ground is sacred all the way back to the Akedah, the Beis HaMikdash, the second Beis HaMikdash, and the third Beis HaMikdash. That's the reality. Right now there's a dome obstructing our view, but that's not reality. We have machshava acheres, an ability to see deeper, to see different. This summer, my wife and I had the opportunity to visit Mrs. Leah Trank, the wife of David Trank, Zatzal. She was talking a lot about her husband's unique approach to chinuch, her approach to chinuch, and she deals with a lot of people, private people, parents, spouses. She tries to help them. She was telling us about parents who she was trying to help. The mother said, my son is a monster. My son is difficult. He fights with his siblings. When he's in the house, everybody's tense from him. He's in a bad mood a lot, and he fights and he hurts, and it's very scary to have him around. What are we supposed to do? Mrs. Trank told this mother, could you step out of the room and come right back in for a moment? So she said, sure. She accommodated her. The mother comes back in. Mrs. Trank says, I am the head counselor of the best boys' day camp in Lakewood. And you are trying to get your son into my day camp. The problem is there's 1 slot left and 25 applicants. Tell me, why should I take your son? Mother says, my son? He's such a responsible boy. You ask him to do something, it's done. He's so beloved. His friends of the neighborhood that keep calling. The phone's always ringing for him. Everybody wants to play with him. He's so popular. And Mrs. Trank said, did you ever tell your son that about himself? Popular, responsible, or did you only tell him that he's a monster? She said, no, I never did. So Mrs. Trank said, maybe it's time to start seeing him and expressing it to him through, as if you're trying to get him into a day camp. Look at him that way, through that vantage point. Means look at things a little differently, and you could change reality. It's a game changer. And this mother told Mrs. Trank that ultimately it was a game changer. It doesn't mean he's not difficult. It doesn't mean he's not moody. It doesn't mean he's not angry. It doesn't mean he doesn't slap his sister too hard, or anything is too hard. He shouldn't be hitting anybody. It's true. But that's not the only reality. When you look at things differently, you're not changing that reality. You're changing your vantage point. You're saying, look at this boy. His friends love him. He's responsible. He has so many good points. Maybe I could see him that way too. And that itself has the potential to change reality. The Shiva and the Nechemta tell us, Klal Yisrael is not in a great place in terms of PR among the nations of the world. We've never been, and it's true now. The Jews invented Corona. The Jews rigged the stock market. The Jews are responsible for all the problems. That's the way it's always been. And it's very much alive and well today, the hatred for who we are. But for the last 7 weeks we've heard that that's not reality. You know what reality is? Nachmu Ami. You are the future, you are the glory, you are the reason for creation. You're going to light up the world. You're radiant. Everything's going to be great. Up until this week, we're so happy with you. You clothed us in a cloak of salvation. That's the reality. It's been 7 weeks of the Chama of hearing that we're so much greater than anything we could see with our eyes right now, than what reality appears to be. Now comes to Rosh Hashanah. And the message is, if you could look at Klal Yisrael differently, if you could look at our nation differently, if you could look at the world differently, maybe you could even look at yourself differently. Maybe you could even find this gift of Nechama and apply it to yourself, to your own life. Comes Rosh Hashanah, a time of introspection, rebuilding yourself. Learn to look at yourself through eyes of Nechama. Look at yourself differently.